You're tuning in to the Black Hollywood Live Network, featuring news, interviews, and commentary on all things Black Hollywood. Hollywood redefined. From Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is Black Hollywood Live, Portraits, featuring intimate, in-depth interviews with Black Hollywood stars and influencers. Black Hollywood Live, Hollywood redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host for Black Hollywood Live, Portraits, Dario Kristen.
Hey everybody, you're watching Black Hollywood Live Portraits. I'm your host, Dario Kristen. Here joining me in the studio today is Courtney Stewart.
Hello.
And DJ Jesse J.
What up?
And our very special guest that we'll be interviewing today. You know him as Neil Winters on Young and the Restless. Kristoff St. John is in the house with us today.
Hey now.
What's up, Kristoff?
Hey, today only I'm going to be DJ K-Stoff.
DJ K-Stoff.
Jesse J and K-Stoff.
I like that.
We're gonna take
You come to Black Hollywood Live, you get new names.
Sweet.
I like that. Street credibility, all that stuff.
Nice. Thank you for that. I appreciate
You
it.
like that?
Yeah, I do. For sure.
Come to Black Hollywood, we'll feed you grape soda.
That's my man Jimmy. My man Jimmy Freeman, PR for
Yes.
Young and the Restless. You know,
He's got him on the grape soda.
he's really black. I mean, but he's white, but he's really black. As soon as he saw the grape soda, you told me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He officially became a black man.
Right. Now, is this anywhere like bridging on? What was the comment that Sergio made to Tiger Woods? That was fried chicken. What are you gonna have? What are you gonna serve?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
it's okay for black people to joke about fried chicken and grape soda, but as soon as white people or even Sergio, Mexican dude, a Latin dude, says something, it's not all right, right?
You're right. It becomes a little, it becomes a little
sketchy.
suspect, a little sketchy.
Yeah.
It's all about the delivery, I guess. Maybe.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
Well, thank you for joining us. You know, we were saying that so many people are excited that you're coming into the studio. I mean, you're like, royalty.
Legendary.
You're like black royalty.
You are
know
Come
what I
on now. Oh, Courtney, I like you.
mean? You are 22
can hang
years.
out.
Stop it.
Yeah, come on. No, please.
Stop it, please.
Give me a little more. Give me.
You and Drusilla.
Yeah.
You and Drusilla. I mean, everybody knows that storyline. 22 years.
Yeah.
On one of the hottest soap operas. I mean, and your storyline literally everyone knew about. And first of all, congratulations for that. I mean,
Thank
you've
you.
been on there
Thank you,
since
sir.
1991.
Thank you.
And what we want to know is, we know about the sex symbol, Kristoff St. John, Neil Winters that you are today.
Wow.
But you grew up in Connecticut,
Yes.
born in New York, grew up in
Right.
Connecticut.
That's right.
What were you like as a kid?
I had a big afro, and like I still do, basically. I cut it around the sides now. You know what? I left Connecticut when I was 4, and ultimately moved with my dad and my stepmom to the West Coast, to California. And so I was getting into trouble a lot. I was a little liar. I was a thief. I got to be honest. But I lied. I lied just because I lied.
Yeah,
It
okay.
just, my parents would ask me, "Did you take that off?" No. Of course I had. I was a kid who, did you eat the peanut butter? It was all over my mouth. No. But I stole because my parents were hippies, and they went from meat eating one day to total raw foods, not cooked foods, raw foods the
my.
next. Not raw meat, total vegetarian, raw foods. So at 5, 6 years old, I was stealing.
Wow.
Food. I would go to first grade, second grade, and I'd be the kid who would, while the kids were out in the playground, I'd go into the lunches. And I would steal. I was good, man. I would steal cookies from one person, and then a ham sandwich from somebody else, and then some chips so no one would know.
You had a full meal.
But I had a full
full
meal.
meal.
That's right,
Hey.
meal deal. But then I finally got caught, okay, because I started stealing whole lunches.
Oh,
and
yeah.
third grade,
You
kid
got
named
greedy.
Bud. Yeah, I got greedy.
You got
Kid
greedy.
named Bud. I was eating out of his lunch sack. I didn't even change the sack out. He came up and he said, "Hey, is that my sandwich?" I went, "No, that's not. That's my sandwich." And then he said, "That's my paper bag." And sure enough, BUD was on his
Right
lunch. Yeah. That's it.
So, but it was like no reason of why you did it. You just were just doing it.
Oh no, I was
He
hungry.
was hungry,
Okay.
man.
Oh yeah, I wasn't getting fed at home.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I got beat up at school for stealing all the lunches. This was at Point Doom School in Malibu. So if anybody from Point Doom is watching, hey, I'm sorry I stole your lunches, but they were good. And then I got beat when I got home because
Yeah.
I was supposed to be a vegetarian. So
Yeah.
So
there's that.
did that ever change for you?
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
did your parents ever say, "Okay, we can't be forcing this on you," or
no.
No.
No, our house was strictly no meat, and it lasted all the way through. My parents divorced when I was about 17, or they separated anyway. And once I turned, 18, I was eating burgers like they were going out of
They're
style.
going out- right.
I think I got up in the middle of the night to eat a burger. I was like, steak, I'm eating me. Damn it. But no, man, I'm a vegetarian now. I tried being vegan. Most of my life I've been vegetarian. So.
Okay.
Now, you come from a family of talent who were actors as well. Did that help you in your process of getting in the business, or did you feel a pressure as a young kid to get into the business because your parents were involved?
There was no pressure whatsoever other than auditioning. And my dad, who he starred in Shaft, he hit the streets of New York and started working on Broadway, then starred in Shaft, then wrote a film called Top of the Heap, which he directed and starred in. That was the reason why he came to the West Coast. I wanted to be like Dad. When I saw that my dad was on the big screen, and I saw his R-rated film Top of the Heap when I was very young, and I knew that that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Other kids, fireman, doctor, lawyer. My dad was an actor. I asked my dad at the age of 7 if he would teach me how to act, and he did. His wife, his ex-wife, my stepmom Maria, classically trained in England, incredible, talented actress. She also taught me. I was an exceptional reader. And so half the battle when you audition is going in and being able to articulate.
Yeah.
And the fear was more about the audition process, and as a kid you have less fear. As an adult, now I go in and I go, what do you want me to do? Because it's just what happens. It's a confidence thing.
Yeah.
That's all.
So as an adult, you felt like it got to be where you were more fearful in auditions versus
Sure.
being younger?
Well, sure, because as a kid, you don't really know what's at stake. I mean, as a kid, I didn't have the bills to pay. I didn't, I wasn't
that's true.
taking care
The
of
pressure.
that. The
Yeah.
pressure.
Pressure's
Right
different.
now, it's like there's, it used to be when I was a kid, I'd audition against 5, 6 of the same kids all the time. Todd Bridges was one of them. And now as an adult, I'll go in against, 30, 40 people. I mean, people coming from all over the world to LA to work. So it's definitely changed a lot.
What were you like as a kid? Were you competitive? Were you an introvert? Were you outgoing?
I was outgoing. I was forced to be outgoing because of being an actor.
Yeah.
And but I was more isolated than anything. My parents loved living in the mountains. They lived in Idlewild. We lived in Ojai. We lived all over the Southern California, but always in the mountains. And so I would go to a school. I would enroll, get a job, get a couple jobs. I would be at school for a quarter of the year. Wasn't making too many friends, and then we'd pick up and move pretty much every 2 years. So it was kind of like a gypsy life that we were living.
Kind of a little bit of every. Oh, sorry. Go
And
ahead.
what was it like as a child, going back to that memory, like what was it like looking at your father? Like how did you see your father? I mean, obviously you know how he is in the home. What was it like watching him on the big screen and then him coming back into the home? Like, what is that like at watching as a child to watch your father?
It's a similar feeling that most kids get with their dads. He was Superman to me,
Yeah.
but he was larger than life. And as I was growing, I kept waiting for the day that I would get to be his size. And it seemed like that took forever, and it did. But definitely emulated my father a lot. If you ask me who my favorite actor is, it's my dad.
That's your dad, yeah.
Absolutely, him and Denzel. But bottom line is, we had a very, it was a show business family. We did a stage play together, Love War in the Universe, when I was very young, and we always tried to, do creative things together as a family.
Very good.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you really were getting your acting bug at like the age of 7, you
Yep.
said. So you starred or guest starred on shows like Happy Days and Wonder Woman and the Richard Pryor Project as well.
Right.
Now, what was it like to be a kid and being on set during that time period? I mean, you're being 7. I mean, like you were saying, your dad seemed larger than life. I can imagine a studio seemed larger than life as well.
Oh yeah, yeah, and meeting people that were legendary. You use the word legend. I appreciate that, but I'm still, I'm a young dude and all that. Legendary to me, meeting Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
I understood who he was. My dad told me, so all those big celebrities back then.
Yeah.
But it was intimidating too. But as a kid, you're less apt to, be awkward. So I was always just in the mix, and I think my peers were adults. They were, so that's how I was talking like an adult when I was 8, 9, 10 years old.
What was it like working with Richard Pryor?
Very funny. He was cool. I don't know if he liked kids that much.
Really?
To be honest with you, no. I mean, he was funny, but he was just doing his own thing.
Yeah.
And there was a group of us that were on that show, and we sang a Stevie Wonder song. The first man to die on a flag we now hold high was a black man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But you were asking about sports. I always wanted to compete in sports, and I never got to because my dad was always, hey, you're the commodity. We can't let you get hurt, right?
Right.
So I ended up doing a series called The Bad News Bears, which is all baseball.
Yep.
And I got to play baseball for 2 years at Paramount Studios. That was cool, man.
So you got best of both worlds.
Yeah.
So was
amazing.
baseball your favorite sport?
No, growing up, baseball was not. It was basketball.
It was more basketball. Okay.
Yeah, and football. I used to watch basketball and football with my dad religiously. Football mostly, and then basketball. I started watching the Lakers in the early '80s when Magic Irvin Johnson came in.
Big Magic. Yeah.
Yes, sir. And my team for football was the LA Rams.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, until they left and went to St. Louis. Then they had to win in St. Louis. What happened there?
Now, at the age of 12, you went on to star in The Next Generation for Roots, which is historically, I mean, it's still, when it comes on BET and shows, I watch it. I mean, I have to set aside like 7 hours to watch it because it's so much. You played a young Alex Haley.
Right.
What was that experience like? Was he hands-on since you played his particular character as a child?
Yes, good question, Daryl. He was on the set for half of the shoot, and George Stanford Brown was directing that particular episode. And James Earl Jones and Alex Haley it seemed like they were best friends. But Alex Haley came up to me and said, young man, I like what you're doing. He says, but we have to cut your hair. And so, and I've always had,
The
yeah,
fro,
man.
that's the fro, right.
What?
Wait, I gotta ask, did you have the pick in the fro at some point? Or
At some point I did. Oh, yeah.
Because that's standard. We gotta have the pick in the fro. I'm just saying.
Yeah, not as a kid either. I think I was a teenager. like that. Yeah, all sorts of stuff I got caught in my hair, man. But yeah, he made me cut my hair. So I remember thinking, why did he do that? Why did I have to do that? But they showed me some pictures of him, and they still didn't cut it short like his.
Really?
Yeah, but it was an exciting project to work on. Irene Cara played my mother. Dorian Harewood played my father.
Yeah, it's a great
Bea
cast.
Richards was grandma. Stan Shaw was my grandfather. Debbie Morgan
Wow.
was a cousin. Was he cousin? Somebody, I can't remember. Debbie and I worked together now 3 times in projects. Yeah.
It's a classic move. I mean, classic television series.
Yeah.
And now it's funny because do you feel that the new generation has a lack of understanding a lot of Black history? I mean, a lot of us grew up to shows like Roots and had history that we would see in our face every day. And I feel some people feel that there's a lack of that now. What is your viewpoint on that?
Wow, this is a heavy topic all by itself. I mean,
Yeah.
we could spend an hour talking
Yeah.
about this, but the frustrating part as an African American actor, Black actor in Hollywood now, is that you turn on the TV. I defy you to find a 1-hour drama on the networks, right? Cable, yes. BT is doing their share.
Yeah.
Where are those 1-hour dramas? They're not there. Where are the half-hour sitcoms?
Yeah.
They're not there. Tyler Perry, thank you, man, for House of Pain.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing your share. But the Cosby Show revitalized sitcoms back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And we need the same thing now. When I was growing up, it was Good Times.
Yeah.
It was the Jeffersons. It was All in the Family. It was, we had, we could tune into a number of different shows to watch us. And now it's weird. It's not happening. I don't know if there's a blackout on television and in the movies because we keep going to the same go-to people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not getting any better.
That's true.
So I'm not sure how to fix it.
I feel your passion though.
It's like
I
everything
feel the passion.
paused after Fresh Prince and Family Matters.
The 90s.
Everything
Right.
kind of, the 2000s just kind of put everything on pause for some
It did.
reason.
It did.
The last 1-hour drama that I can recall was,
drama,
it was not Under One Roof.
I was going to say Under One Roof.
It wasn't. No, it was with Vivica Fox and Blair Underwood, City of Angels, as I recall,
Oh, yeah.
on CBS. I can't think of
Okay,
another one
another
since
one.
then that's been like a predominantly black cast on
Yeah.
CBS, NBC, ABC, Fox. Where is it?
You're right.
Why do you think there's such an aversion to black dramas? Because that's been the case for quite a while with drama specifically. Like we got a movement in the 90s. We had a lot of sitcoms, but the 1-hour dramas for black, like a full black cast, is I don't remember one succeeding really in recent memory.
In recent memory. I mean, let's pick one. Let's go around the room. Can you pick a 1-hour black drama? Just pick one other than City of Angels and
Well,
Under One Roof.
there's one, and I don't want to mess up the name. It was something The Heights or something like that. It was on ABC Family Channel, and it had a predominantly
Washington Heights.
Washington
Or-
Heights.
Washington Heights.
It had a predominantly black
Right,
cast,
right.
and that was in our show,
Right.
drama
ABC
type show.
Family, though, that's cable.
That's cable.
Well, that's
talking
true. That's
network,
cable.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
that's true.
yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. And what about what's Jada Pinkett Smith's show, Hawthorne?
Hawthorne, that's cable.
That's
TNT,
cable.
yeah.
I've got to assume that they are doing some very serious demographics.
Yeah.
You know, and they know who's watching what when, and they've tested shows left and right.
Yeah.
And the shows that have come on, the 1 hour black dramas that have come on, obviously didn't test well enough to stay on air or to create new ones.
Yeah.
You know,
Which is surprising.
I can't point the finger at racism. I don't think that would be the case.
Yeah.
That they're saying, well, no, let's not put any black shows on. They're
Right.
not. There must be a science and numbers to everything that they're doing. But not giving it a chance, though, not coming up with something, you know, you know what happens. Somebody does something and they put it on air, a producer, a showrunner, and it's the first of its kind, and everybody follows suit.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah.
How do you think it is affected, though? So, for instance, like Shonda Rimes, her Grey's Anatomies and things like that are having such great success, but her idea of racially blind casting, like not picking who these people are before
Right.
she meets them, how do you think that's sort of affecting or could possibly affect how, if we'll ever see actually, because I mean, we'll always see a white drama, but
Yeah.
would
Right.
it ever be a chance for black people to have just black shows and not them be black shows? so
Or
to
an
speak?
all Asian drama.
Or do you think
Yeah,
that
we're the
idea?
Asians.
Yeah, we're the
Or
Asians.
Asian, exactly.
Right.
But this idea of colorblind casting, so to speak,
Yeah, that's true.
it gives people jobs, but is it really opening doors for those to really bring in more?
Well, I think what she's doing is absolutely 100% positive because the more we see of us and the more we see the Latin community,
natural. Yes.
you know, the Asian community, the Indian community. I mean,
Yeah.
it seemed like Indians, the East Indians are in.
Yeah.
You know, but they had to do, I guess it was Hangover to get the Asian dude, right? They go, oh, well, Asian guys are funny. We'll cast them. Indian guys, you know,
Yeah.
Cal Penn. You know, I mean, we can only point to one. But yeah, I think it only helps us. It definitely doesn't hurt our cause.
And Slumdog Millionaire, like there's more. At least they're giving them more visibility in props now, and they realize how much they can change the game as well. So
Well, sure, but Slumdog was Danny Boyle, and that was basically it was shot in India, the whole
well,
thing.
that's true. Yeah, that's all. Yeah,
You know,
that's
so
true.
that was kind of imported here.
Yeah.
But still, yeah, there needs to be much more diversity. It used to be that we would find at least one of us, you know, on a show, and now I'm like going, well, wait, where's the one of us?
Yeah.
You know, we had CSI, my man Gary Dordan. Gary, come
Gary.
back to the planet. No, I don't know. I ain't saying nothing. I love my boy.
So tell us how you feel.
Nah, man, no.
So tell us about the incident with Gary. How you feel about
No,
that,
I ain't
Kristoff?
saying nothing.
You know, CBS. I'm sure there's a lot of insight you could give us on that.
Wow, I didn't even think of that.
Yes.
I didn't even think of that. That was a CBS show.
That was a CBS
True.
show.
But all those, you see the franchises, they all have the one. My man Shamar,
Yeah.
God bless him for getting that role.
Yeah.
Because I
big.
remember, and Shamar, I don't know if you'll ever see this, but man, he actually told me when it was called Quantico originally, Criminal Minds, and we both auditioned for it. We both went in, and he ended up getting the role. But he said, man, I don't know about this show. I don't think it's going to go. And I said, are you kidding me? A show about the FBI in Quantico, Virginia? Of course it's going to go. And you better ride it out the whole time.
Right,
You
right.
can get 5 years, just take it.
Yeah.
You can get, and man, they're on the 9th season right now.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
brother's set for the rest of his life
Yeah, he
from that
is.
one show.
Yeah, because what did he have before
Spin-offs
that? He
and
had
Young and the Restless.
Young and the Restless.
no,
before
no.
that.
But in between, it was Birds of Prey. You remember he did?
Oh, yeah,
that's
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right. I
Yeah,
forgot
he's
about
right.
that.
Jesse, all right.
Yeah. Look at you, Mr. Facts
Wow.
over there,
Wow.
Jesse.
And
Wow.
then Shamar Moore.
Yeah.
All right, so you were in Bad News Bears, Sister, and we're talking about longevity in this career. What is, I mean, a lot of teen stars burn out. How were you able to stay level-headed throughout this and succeed?
Interesting question, Jesse. I'm not sure what the formula is. I do know I've had my downs in the business. I've had moments where I thought I wasn't going to continue as an actor. There was a rough period. Wasn't that long. It was before I got the daytime gig, you know. But I waited tables in downtown LA at a Japanese restaurant called Inagiku. I learned a fair share of Japanese. Watashi wa skoshi dake nihongo wakarimasu.
Wow.
That just means I can speak a little Japanese.
There you go.
It sounded good to me.
Skoshi ne. I also was working for the Los Angeles Theater Center, a telemarketer, you know, because I never liked to let the bank account get too low.
Yeah.
And as luck would have it, they promoted me to captain of the restaurant, and then they wanted me to be the GM, the general manager of another. It was a 5-star restaurant, by the way. It was a tempura bar, sushi bar, main dining room. I mean, it was the bomb. They wanted me to go to another location in Hawaii and general manage that. I was all set to do this, man. I was all set to go and talk
Hawaii.
Japanese and be a black dude in Hawaii soaking up the sun.
That's a good look.
I
That's
know,
a good
right?
look. That's a good look.
I wanted
That's a good look.
I wanted to learn how to surf too.
Yeah.
So, but man, as luck would have it, I got a call for a movie of the week. John Nicolella, who was a big Miami Vice executive producer, and they asked me to come in for this Josh Brolin, Jim Brolin movie of the week called Finish Line. And they had told me that Lou Diamond Phillips had been cast in the role, but something happened and he had to bounce. So I auditioned for it. In the room, Nicolella tells me, "You're my guy. I want you." And so I walk out, agent call, got the part, and I went, "Oh, good. I can't do the Inakiku thing. I can't be the captain." Wait, so I had to call my boss.
no.
He go, "Kristoff, you know, come to work." I went, "No, I got a job." "No, you already have job." I went, "Nah, man, I gotta go."
Now, do you ever go back and see, is he still there, or do you ever go back to that
I
restaurant?
haven't gone back, man.
You got to go back.
I
You gotta
should.
go back.
I know.
Yeah.
I know, man. But that's what happened.
Did you at least learn how to serve?
I didn't. I will one day.
That's
There's-
not that's Cali.
It's
Easy.
calories.
So it sounds like a lot of the roles started to really pick up for you during that time period. And you had mentioned a little bit earlier the Cosby Show.
Yeah.
And you played Denise Huxtable's boyfriend.
Yes.
Now, what was it like to work with Bill Cosby? I mean, did he give you any advice? I mean, black man to black man, you know, just like, hey, you know, he was the #1 black sitcom, family sitcom, really, at that time period. Did you learn anything from him?
was just the man.
He was just the man.
He was the man.
Who happened to be
All-around
black.
man.
He happened to be black.
He happened to be black, but
Yes,
he
that's
was the
true.
man.
He was.
But did you learn something from him, or did he teach you anything while you were on the show?
Well, I don't know. I mean, just being around greatness, it does rub off on you. You do get a little bit of that. I didn't spend a whole lot of time with Bill except for on set. I mean, he was busy and chomping his cigars when he wasn't on set. He really was. But that was a turning point in the career as well. I mean, that was one of those. I was kind of down to my last few dollars, and I'm wondering, okay, auditioning and trying to get something working, and I remember getting that role, and they put it on tape and then sent it to New York, and I got the call the day after that I auditioned for it in Los Angeles, and they said, "Yeah, they want you for this role. You do realize that this could be a game changer." So said my agent at the time. I said, "Yeah, I don't know, I guess." I mean, I knew the show was #1. It was real popular. I watched every episode, you know, but that was episode 10 of the first season.
Yeah.
And How Ugly Is He was the name of that episode, because I guess I was kind of ugly in attitude and behavior about Cosby, his job, his wife's job.
His wife's job.
Yeah,
His
like
wife's
that.
job, right. I
Yeah,
remember-
but Felicia was real nice, man. I spent time talking to her quite a bit, and Lisa we got along famously, and, you know, we ended up going out on a date back in L.A. That was kind of a disaster.
Why? What happened?
Oh.
Man, see how I opened that up?
Yeah,
I did. Now
thank
we
you for
need to
making my
know.
job very easy.
Yeah.
What exactly happened, Kristoff?
Well, open
You like
business,
that, huh?
right?
You're like an open book. I like this.
I know, right? Man, hard on the sleeve, man. Honestly, it was really I was supposed to pick her up at 7 p.m.
Oh,
Forget
yeah,
it.
that's
like,
early.
I was like,
Yeah,
wow.
that's-
Wow. So you're
That's the reason why I was late.
I was like, what was going to go on during the date?
No, man.
Longest date ever.
I was like, wow, you really liked her.
Yeah. That was going to Runyon Canyon, huh?
Yeah, man, we were gonna go for a run. We were getting up early. No, man, no, it was 7 p.m. at night, and honestly, I stopped off to get flowers for her, and we were going to see Matt Dillon's The Flamingo Kid, and the flower line was long. I remember standing in the line going, "Uh-oh, I think I'm gonna be late. I think I'm gonna be late." And she was staying in Westwood at a hotel there. And sure enough, I get the flowers, get in the car, and you know, halfway there, I'm already supposed to be there. It took another 20 minutes. I pick her up. She wasn't happy. Even, here's the flowers. I'm sorry. Here's the flowers. Like,
Aw.
thanks. You ready? I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm ready. And then we went across the street to see the Flamingo Kid, and I bought us some popcorn, but she didn't really want to share. Lisa, I'm sorry that I'm saying this out loud, but that's what happened. It wasn't a good date. It was
Yeah.
because I was late, and she, you know, I mean, we ended up nice, you know, at the end of the movie, but it took a long
So
time.
there was no second date, is what you're telling us.
There was a second
was.
date.
Oh, there was.
No,
No.
there wasn't.
Wait,
No.
do you know something that we?
I'm asking.
I'm like, oh.
No,
No
I
second.
think
No second.
that did it. Yeah,
Okay.
I think Romeo Blue at the time got that date, who turned into Lenny. hey, but wait, I got another quick one.
Oh.
This is a quick one. This is a quick one. Wait. So then I get called not too long later for A Different World, okay? And I walk in for the audition, and there I said, man, that's Romeo Blue, and he's reading for this. Okay, so. I figured he'd get it because I knew that he was dating Lisa.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't know if they were married then or they were going to get married or what. But I just kind of just read it, and I went in. I didn't have much on it, and sure enough, they called and offered me to part. I never thought I would beat out her own boyfriend for the role. The role was Easy Brooks. He was the counselor at the at Hillman. Oh no! Oh, I've forgotten. I can't.
Hillman. It was Hillman
It was
College.
Hillman. Yeah, it was Hillman.
RA
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah. But I don't know if I would have rather traded places with Romeo and just, not been Easy Brooks, but been who he was.
The boy.
Yeah, the boyfriend.
The boyfriend.
Now you work with so many legendary people such as Lisa Bonet, Bill Cosby, Alex Haley. You also work with Flip Wilson and Charlie and Company. And you played his son, correct?
Yes, I did.
Now, describe how you got that job and the experience with working with Flip, because I mean he's the legendary man himself. So,
Gerald, killer! I'm gonna say killer on you. Yeah, man. Flip Wilson, I met him at the screen test for the network at CBS, and I was shaking in my boots because by that time I was 18 and realized just what was at stake. I had already done the Cosby Show, and this was almost immediately following doing the Cosby Show, and I heard years later that whoever was working at CBS that passed on the Cosby Show got fired because it ended up at NBC.
Oh, wow.
Right? So then they immediately got their own Cos show with Flip Wilson called Charlie and Company. They had a couple of different names for it. But I go in for the audition, I go on to the next round, and then I'm sitting there with the network execs and Flip Wilson. And the audition went swimmingly. It went really good. I mean, it was good. But the one thing that sold it was I'm standing next to Flip, and he does one of these numbers because he's a lot shorter. He was a lot shorter. Rest in peace, Flip.
Yeah.
And so he does one of these numbers. I say a line to him, and he looks down at my shoes, and he kind of looks at the middle, and then he looks all the way and says, "Damn, I got to get a ladder just to talk to my own son." It was not in the script. And the network just went ballistic. They laughed.
That was one of those moments.
It was one of those moments. And I think that moment earned me that job.
That's great.
I really do. And it was great working with Flip. I mean, he was a professional. He did a little something, but that, he used to forget his lines a little bit. That's okay. I can say. People know about that. It happens. But I had a great time. Gladys Knight was fantastic.
She seems like everybody's mom. I wanted Gladys Knight to be my mom growing up. She seemed like my grandmother or something. Like, how was she? Was she like that in person?
Yeah.
She seemed very motherly.
She very, very warm.
Yeah.
Very beautiful, offered advice, and then I had Jaleel White, Urkel.
Yeah.
He played my little brother. He was funny as all get out. And Fran Robinson was my sister. Della Reese came on the show as Aunt Rachel. And she was incredible. And I got my first girlfriend, real girlfriend, through Della Reese.
And how did that happen?
Her stepdaughter.
Oh.
Her stepdaughter, Dominique. She was fine, man.
Now that could be a good thing or a bad thing because you're working with her
together.
and then you're dating her daughter or stepdaughter.
But I feel like Mother Reese wouldn't just
Would
offer
offer.
somebody.
That's true.
unless
She
felt-
did.
That's true.
No, I'm saying
She rather
unless she
make sure
knew.
Yeah.
quality was coming.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, well, what's interesting is that Della was the one person on that show who pulled me aside one day and she said, "You're going to have an amazing career with drama." And and at the time I went, "But I'm trying to be funny here."
Yeah.
And she said, "You are funny." He says, "But you're a very good dramatic actor. I can see you going a long way with drama." And she was right, man, because what have I been doing for the past 24 years? 2 on Generations and 22 on Young and the Restless.
Speaking of generations, you were cast in 1989 as Adam Marshall, which is a huge thing because that was the first black soap opera ever. And I mean, there's still cult following. They say that some people want to bring it back online virally, so there is a chance. You may be called again.
Yeah.
But what was it like to be a part of such a revolutionary show at the time? And did you realize how important that show was going to be for the black community?
I didn't realize at the time. And it really wasn't a black soap. There was a black family.
Black family, yeah.
And there was a white family. It was well mixed, but every day of the week you could turn on that particular show and you would see members of that black family.
Yeah.
On Young and the Restless, I can't say that. And there's been some real dry spells.
Yeah.
We've had, I've had 4 and 5 year runs where was I? And you turn on the TV, not saying anything bad about Young and the Restless as much as we were front and center the entire run. Torian Black originated the role of Henry Marshall, my father. And then was replaced by Jim Reynolds. Both fabulous actors. Janelle Allen, an incredible, amazing actress. Rick Fitz, they were the neighbors. Yeah, man, it was a lot of good people. Sally Sussman, who created the show, and she was a head writer for Young and the Restless for many years. You know, she got her feet wet there. Tony Morena, her husband, who is now on Young and the Restless as a supervising producer. He was a director on Generations. Cool cat. We had some great writers, Michelle Valjean, I think we had Susan Dansby for a while, who's now writing on Young and the Restless. And that's the difference. We had some black writers.
Yeah.
And we had some, black people behind the scenes.
Yeah.
We had to, because we had such a large black cast.
And that's probably what made the show so relatable to so many people, because of just the writers and, of course, the acting. You were nominated for 2 Emmys during that time period.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. I forgot to mention Joan Pringle, who played my mother. She was just exceptional. But thank you for, I don't know why I'm thanking you for saying I was nominated for
you're
Emmys.
welcome.
I don't know.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I didn't like Windsor.
Thank you, Daryl, for reading.
You're right. I'd like to thank the Academy for those 2 nominations 24 years ago. Yeah, but it was a fun show. I'm sorry that it went off the air, but if it hadn't gone off the air, then I never would have been on Young and the Restless. And the truth is, I was a secret closet Young and the Restless watcher when I was doing Generations, because Young and the Restless was the #1 show at the time. Yeah. And we were last place and always stayed in last place. So I used to watch going, what are they doing that we're not doing?
Yeah.
And you know what? They were doing a lot of stuff that we weren't doing. Their lighting was incredible. Some of their writing some of it was superior. The setups. Bill Bell Sr., incredible storyteller, really. And Sally Sussman, who learned from him, obviously, with Generations, she did a fantastic job. But the one thing that I saw was this beautiful girl. I said, who's that? She's playing, what kind of name is that, Drusilla? And Victoria Rowell. And then I saw Tanya Lee Williams, who she was on it. And she was playing her sister. And Tanya Lee had been on Generations for a minute. And I saw Nathan Purdie, and I went, okay, so they got some black folk on Young and the Restless. I said, man, if my show ever goes down, and little did I know it was going down a lot sooner than I thought, I want to be on that show.
Speak it into existence.
I was about to say, law of the universe right there.
Be careful what you wish for. Yeah. And that's absolutely what happened. But when we got canceled 2 weeks after Warren Littlefield, the president of NBC came on Stage 9 on our set and went, my mother loves Generations. And it sounded like Obama a little bit.
You did kind of Obama
Let me make this
flavor
clear.
to the voice.
I want to be clear. But he said, my mama loves, now I'm a black one. My mama loves Generations. And we are not going to take you off the air. And we were off the air in 2 weeks.
Wow.
So mama must have said something to Warren. And then as soon as we were off the air, I was like, boop, boop, doo, doo, boop. Hello? Nancy Wired, supervising producer, Young and the Restless. Yes, this is me, Kristoff St. John. I'm an actor on on Generate. Yeah, I want to be on Young and the Restless, though. Send in some tape? Okay, I will. I dutifully sent in tape. 2 weeks later, I got a call, and I met with Bill Bell, who offered me 4 shows on Young and the Restless.
And then after the 4 shows, I hear you got a contract after like 2 days.
The second show, I got a contract from Bill. He called me on set after I finished my scenes, and he says, so, how'd you like to stick around here for a while? How'd you like a contract? And I went, yeah, sure. Okay, great. How's 3 years sound? Sure.
Wow.
That's how it happened.
And is that the standard? What is the standard contract starting off? Is it a year contract or 2 years? Like 3 years sounds like they really knew that you were the man. You were the man. So, what is the standard contract?
I wish I could say the standard contract was a year, but standard is 3. It was back then. Sometimes 5 years they give, depending on what kind of character you're playing, and But it varies. It's contingent on what kind of role you have.
And as an actor, I mean, just going into it and hearing you say, what are they doing differently? And you actually caring about the lighting, about the writing and things like that.
Yep.
What's the difference between acting on a soap opera versus acting on set for a movie or a sitcom? Like, what would you say is the biggest difference? A lot of people say it's actually harder.
Soaps? All right, biggest difference is there's a hell of a volume of material, man. I mean, we get hit sometimes with, 20, 30 pages in a day. Every day in production, we're pulling off, it used to be, 50, 60, 70 pages, 80, sometimes it is still 60, 70, 80 pages in one day. Yeah. Of a full-length feature film, you can have 85, 89 pages, 90 pages.
Wow.
And they're doing that over a minimum a month, 6 weeks, right? So that's the biggest difference. You have very little time to put it together, to make your presentation. It's rehearsal. Alfred Hitchcock said 99.9% of success is preparation. I hope he said that. And maybe he said 99%. I put the 0.9. So me and Alfred Hitchcock said. But bottom line is that's true. It's your rehearsal. If I have 15, 20 pages of just chunky dialogue, I'm studying the night before for a half hour to an hour.
Yeah.
And then in the morning I have to run it with my peeps and go through it. So when we hit stage, we're comfortable enough that boom, okay, we're going to shoot this 5, 4, 3, 2.
Damn.
We have one chance.
Okay.
Or 2 or 3 if we keep messing it up, but we're trying to get it that first take, so that we can move this along, so that the rest of the people have their chance to do their scenes.
Yeah.
So
you're Neil Winters now on Young and the Restless. How close is the character Neil to who Kristoff is in real life?
That's a great question, and I've been asked this question before. We're not a lot alike. In fact, we're almost totally opposite, but yet we're a lot alike. I know I just contradicted.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
I went around the circle and then I
Explain
came
that.
back. I was like, wait, okay,
Right.
I got you.
Man, I could never live in a suit and a tie. I could never work for corporate America. Never. I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
I'm pretty creative, and I can, but I could never dress that way. I am articulate like Neil, because that is what you see on the screen. I try to do a balance of, who I am and who Neil is. There's a lot of me that comes through. It's hard to explain, but on set, of things, of moments, right? What people don't really know about me is that I can be pretty funny. I like to laugh a lot. I don't tell jokes. I'm not going to get on the stage and Chris Rock
No
style.
stand up movie
No,
coming out for
man.
you?
No, man. But the things that are a lot alike is I can be very dramatic. I can be my own life. I feel like I got a soap opera running, okay? And I can be pretty dramatic like that. But truth is, I'm pretty carefree. I could live on an island, and that's what I'd like to do. I would love to grow out my hair, so I got Bob Marley style stuff, and live on a beach somewhere. That would be me.
See, now we said Law of the Universe. You just put that out there. That might be what's next.
That's my.
Have
That
you ever heard of? Well, as far as Neil, has he ever taught you anything to kind of add to your own life?
What has Neil Winters taught Kristoff? Neil has taught me to be, I guess, a little better with money. Over the years, up until I got that show, I was like, what's money? And so I've learned a bit of business acumen from that character. I would have to say that's it. A thing that spills over, though, I would have to say is I have 3 children in real life, and I have children on the show. I have one biological child, and I have 2 kids, one adopted and one that ain't mine, that's my brother's, because my brother slept with my wife while she was drunk on cold medication one night. Go figure that, yo.
That's
right?
a serious storyline.
Yeah, real talk, yo. But I'm really into, I could say it. I'm a pretty good dad, and I love kids. I love kids up until they're about 13, 14, because that's when the switch. I'm not kidding about this. It's like a switch goes from I used to be Merlin the magician, and now I'm the village idiot. I'm not joking. And it takes a lot of I gotta just become subservient. And I'd be good either way. I'd be good as an A-list movie star, or I'd be good as the A-list movie star's assistant.
Yeah.
I can do either one. And I like to serve my children, almost to the point where I've handicapped them in the past. But now the older kids, they're all about, give me money and lots of it. I'm like, no, you need to carve out your own little path in life. I can deal with the Toys R Us runs and the Magic Mountain, the roller coasters with the little one, but the older ones are all about, I need money.
Now, so on the show, you kind of spoke about kids, right? So Neil has, a daughter, Lily, but it's the brother is involved in this.
Right.
Would the Kristoff in real life be able to get over his brother being the father of his daughter?
Oh yeah, I'm a very forgiving person. Too much so, At times when I should push people aside and away, I don't. I'm very forgiving, and in that particular scenario, you're talking about a life.
Yeah.
And I found out at the age of 35 that I had a brother that I never knew about.
Oh wow.
And he was adopted by a family of doctors in New York, and he became a neurosurgeon.
Wow.
So he operates on the brain and the back, on people's backs, and has 3 children just like me. And that was a huge kind of soap opera secret for years with my dad. And when I found that out, I was at first just astounded. And then I got angry because I thought, well, had I known, I could have had a relationship with
Right.
a sibling. When I was growing up, I always wanted to have a sibling.
Yeah.
You know, I'd play football by myself. I'd be the quarterback and the center and the wide receiver. Going back to the childhood days. But definitely I would have to embrace and accept if my brother had cheated on me or with my missus. I would eventually.
And how close are you guys in age? Your brother? Are you still pretty close now?
Yeah, he's a year older than me.
Okay.
And we're not very close. He lives in New York, and I know we've got technology, phones and whatnot, but we don't talk that much.
Yeah.
But we reach out to each other at least 3-4 times a year.
Okay.
I think the distance is really kind of killing us.
Yeah.
If we lived nearby, it would be a little bit different.
Well, he should come here during the winter months.
Right?
Much better weather.
Vacation,
yes.
Vacation, a little vacation.
Right? Little side note, he's really good friends with Rick Springfield. So he comes out here and he visits Rick Springfield. He stays here. And Rick Springfield used to be on General Hospital.
Right.
I thought that was weird.
That's kind of random
Yeah.
but
Small
small world.
but
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 degrees of Kristoff.
6 degrees of Kristoff. Right. I might be related to Kristoff.
Oh, shoot, man.
They kind of look alike.
Yeah, we do, Daryl. There you go. Well, all us black people look alike.
We all look alike.
That's
We look
right.
alike. Right. Exactly. Now, so your storyline on Young and the Restless, I mean, we were mentioning this before, but it was one of the most talked about storylines with you and Drusilla, and it was so popular among so many people. What do you think that how do you think that people were able to relate to it so much? What about your characters do you think that people were like, wow, I got to watch this. I got to tune in. I got to see what's going on with Drusilla.
Well, let me first address why I think people watch soap operas in general. Soap operas are a magical mystery tour. Thank you to the Beatles. It's a fantasy life. It's something that people turn on the television for to escape. It's escapism. And it's stuff that doesn't normally happen in ordinary living. And a lot of stuff does. Marriages, divorces, all that. People want to see the clothing, what the women are wearing, the gowns when they're getting married or going to a ball. For the guys, they want to see them, in our show, it's been corporate, and so guys dressed in suits. At least now we're changing the wardrobe after many, many years and kind of coming out of the closet, and no pun intended in any kind of way. But the Neil and Drew storyline, I think for the first time in the history of Young and the Restless, people saw a real love relationship going down. Nathan Purdie had something for a minute. I can't remember with who. If it was, I guess it was Tanya Lee Williams, Olivia. We had Phil Morris before me, who played a detective, a black detective, who he donned white makeup to infiltrate the mob. So, but he had a girl fall in love with him as a white guy. Strange.
Yeah,
It was. She couldn't fall in love with him as a black man. And before John St. Elwood was part of that. Stephanie Williams was part of that. But I think it was the first time that they really got to see a black man and a black woman besides Angie and Jesse on All My Children with Darnell and Debbie, right? But this was CBS and Young and the Restless. And the two characters couldn't have been more opposite, so to speak. She was a street urchin. Drusilla, she didn't know how to read or write. But I taught her a little bit about that. Nathan taught her how to read. I'm sorry. Nathan did. But I taught her more about, the ways of the world. Hey, we can have a good time and go out to this nice restaurant. Let's go to the movies, drive in my car. And so that's what people saw. That's what was drawing people in. But at the same time, she was this incredible ballerina. She was a prima ballerina. So when Neil looked at her for the first time, the visual was just a 10. And her attitude was always like, man, you're too rough. You're too hard on me and for me. But then when he would watch her do her ballet, it was just everything that he wanted. There was the grace and the elegance, and the roughness was no longer there.
Yeah.
And so it's like fire and water, or oil and water, whatever that saying is. These two people were drawn together, and unlike any other black soap couple, except for Angie and Jesse, you know.
That's true.
Do they ever let you guys, you know the character better than anyone else?
Yeah.
So are you ever able to add to the storylines if you read something or think it should go a different way? Are they pretty open with that, or?
Certain head writers have been open to actors suggesting things, and others not. Input is really made more with the material and interpretation.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should give my trade secrets, but generally, you know, what I do is I will take the script and I will break it down and I will just X out stuff that I'm not going to say.
Yeah.
And I'll write in stuff that I'm going to say. And Eric Braeden, who plays Victor Newman on the show, he told me when he first got there, he said, Kristoff, let me tell you something. If you want to make changes, you need to do it 2 days before.
Wow, you sound.
And then
just
you
like
send it in, you have to fax it in to the writers so they see what you're going to say. Well, that's what he does, right? But I was too fearful at first to do that. Right. So what I would do was I would rewrite stuff, and then I wouldn't say it during the rehearsal, because we always have a rehearsal on set. I would say it for the first time when we taped. And then they would look at it, and I know what they were thinking. They would go,
"This ain't the script."
Right. Well, but it's better than what was written there. Okay. Well, keep it. And every so often, once in a while, they come out and go, "You can't say that because of X, Y, and Z."
Yeah.
But I know what you were trying to do.
Yeah.
That's been my philosophy ever since I got there.
Okay.
You know, I really don't go out of my way to let them know what I'm going to do until I make the performance. And if it works, it works. I said a line to Rhetoric the other day. He was mouthing off to me. I can't tell you why, because it's all storyline stuff. He's mouthing off, and I just thought, man, this is a rude dude.
Yeah.
So I ended up throwing in a line, and I said, your rude attitude or behavior or something. Anyway, bottom line is whatever line because I forgot it already. But whatever I said, it worked.
Yeah.
And it worked because it was better than what was there.
Yeah, it was in the moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned the writers, and you had a storyline when you came on. You were an executive. You were a young executive on the come up.
Yeah.
There has been some storylines for other black characters on that show that were, I will say, a little sketchy the way they were introduced to the show, like
Yes.
Drew. Yeah. Did you ever have like a feeling or a problem with the way the writers were writing some of the black characters into the show?
I don't know about writing them into the show, but there have been issues with just things that were said, lines. I had a big problem with, we had a storyline where I was an alcoholic for a minute, about 6 months on the show, and then I got clean within 1 day. I was
Miraculous.
I was drunk, and the next day I'm telling, you too can be sober. I go to meetings every day. I'm like, nah, man, I need to struggle at least give me a couple of months of going in and out. But I don't really remember too many times of going, this is just not copacetic. Todd Bridges came on the show during my alcoholic storyline, and we had this kind of flimsy thing where I left to go drink in the hood, and I'm not sure why, other than they wanted an unsavory, seedy type to see me, see my watch, see that it's expensive, got some expensive clothes, and then follow me home and rob my apartment. That's why I started drinking in the hood. I don't know about y'all. It's a lot southern now.
Chilling in the
I mean, I'm not going to go down, to Watts or Inglewood
Right,
to get a beer.
just to go drink.
Right.
I'm going to stay here in the valley,
Right.
wherever I'm living, right? But oh well. So Todd, whose name was Juice. Some of the names, I got to say this. Some of the names just haven't been cool, man.
Yeah.
We got Juice after OJ, I think. We had Mamie.
That's messed up.
Mamie left on a cruise, and she hasn't been seen since. These are Southern names. Drusilla.
Oh, it must have been Carnival.
Wow.
I'm not gonna get into that. You're gonna have to get into that with Victoria Rowell.
Yeah.
She will talk about whatever you ask with these topics like that, because I'm still working there.
Yeah. I
And
understand.
I have to uphold the righteousness and where we are headed rather than where we have been.
Right.
Where we are going is new stuff, man. We got new people. Thank God. We got Angelica McDaniel, who is coming to the fray as CBS VP of CBS Daytime. And man, she's just putting in so much diversity. She's expanded storylines that I didn't think were going to be expanded. She put a Latin cat on the show, right? Did we have an Asian? I don't know, but it's gotten a lot more diverse.
So it's gotten better.
It's gotten there.
Scandal's helping us a little bit.
Yes.
Shonda
It's all helping
Rhimes
us
Yes.
is helping us.
I am expecting to see an Indian man coming around the corner going, "Hey, Mr. Neil Winters, I know it is you." Okay, now, very fine, thank you.
Oh my
Now, what can
God.
we expect kind of from Neil's character? I know you can't give us the full storyline, but what can fans see in the future from you?
You're going to see some interesting fireworks between the characters of Leslie and Neil. Leslie is this just fantastic, high-powered attorney that Neil has fallen for, and that's because she's got it all. She's the perfect package. She's smart, intelligent, down to earth. She's got her own career. You know, she's mixing it up, moving and shaking. She's gorgeous. She's a beautiful gal. And she's got a little bit of that Drusilla quality,
Yeah.
you know, and I think that's what Neil has been going for, trying to find his rival. Most of the women that have been brought on the show that have played Neil's love interest, they've been not quite right there with him. I mean, Debbie Morgan, God bless Debbie Morgan for coming on and playing the role of Yolanda, a crack addict, a recovering crack addict, Devon's mother, you know, and we're supposed to fall in love.
Yeah.
There's not. I think they were thinking that it was going to be sort of a Drew and Neil thing all over again, but it really wasn't. And I loved working with her, and I still think she should be on the show, just in a different role. I don't think that was right. It was the right role for her.
Yeah.
Miscasting has happened too many times.
Yeah. And hopefully that'll change. I mean, you think it will change actually in the
Yep.
future?
It's changing. It's changed.
Yeah.
You know, we got Redrick Williams on the show now. We got who else? Lamone. Oh, Lamone. You're gonna be mad that I forgot your last name, but Lamone. Lamone, right? It's kind of like Ramon.
Ramon.
Yeah, you've seen Lamone
I've
and
seen
Redrick.
Lamone,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So they were trying to get some youngsters in there because the old guy getting older. You know, and I'll still take off my shirt though. Woo, with the best of them. With the best of them.
Showing the guns.
Yeah.
Now I have a fan question.
Yeah.
A fan tweeted in and they said they want to know, why doesn't Neil own his own business by now? He had the
Damn.
club, restaurant, Indigo, but he sold it. He
Damn.
has run everybody's company, Newman, Chancellor,
Yep.
and Jabot,
Yep.
but still doesn't have his own legacy. What's the deal?
Okay, here's the deal on this, right? And I got to be honest, I'm going to put this out there for everyone to hear. I have talked to them about this. I've talked to the present administration about this. I know because I'm a black man. I know because I've been working for the man for the longest time. I've done 22 years working for them.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be, you know, like the CEO of American Express was an African American. I don't know if he's still there, but he's supposed to be this multimillionaire. And why wouldn't he go off and start his own company? I gave the here. This is a great story. I thought when Obama got in office,
Neil might be the
Might.
president.
Neil might become the president. Neil could become the
might.
president. We're gonna start a Twitter.
He's the
We're gonna start a
mayor.
Twitter fan page. Neil as
No,
president.
for president.
I love it.
yeah. And look, man, I wasn't saying that it had to be a black company.
Right.
You know, I wasn't saying, well, he needs to make magic shaving powder because of bump
Because of
bump
hair
stopper
bumps,
stuff
black
and
man
all
bumps.
that. I was saying that it could be a diverse company, right?
Right.
But that had black products. Because I told him about, you know what? The reason why I used magic shaving powder until I was 22 was because of my dad.
Yeah.
Because he said, son, I need to pass this on to you.
Yeah.
And I went, well, why? That stuff stinks. I know what you're doing with that. You're in the bathroom going like this. And he goes,
With the butter knife.
with the
With the
freaking butter knife.
My grandfather.
Your granddaddy?
My granddad used to do it too.
Okay, so you know, and
Yeah.
that smell, that sulfur
yeah.
was just
Yeah, it's
horrible.
crazy.
And I knew when he was shaving, so he was like, here you go, son. Now it's here. We're going to take a lesson. I was like, oh, God. And so I ended up shaving like that for, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years. And finally one day I didn't have it on set, and I had to use a razor. I didn't bump up. I told Bill Bell this storyline. I said, this might be a really an amazing thing, you know, bumps. And I told the last administration, and I sort of told the present administration, this could be a wonderful part of his company, that he's caring for black men, right? And here's another thing. Neil, as a black man, has his own biological child. He's only, I don't know, he's a baby last time I saw him. He should be a single black father on the show.
Yeah.
Show other black men that it's okay
In a positive light.
to
Yeah.
hold
Hold
your
your baby.
child's hand
Yeah.
full time.
Yeah.
If baby's mama doesn't want to do it all the time, you know, or not at all, I'll take the kid.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that I'd love to see as well. I know I'm all over the place,
No.
but man, now you got me talking.
No,
I don't
we
even-
love it. We love it.
I don't
Keep
even know if I'm
talking.
gonna have a job
We
next
want
week.
the
Well,
secrets.
no,
Bring it out.
Look, trust me,
I'm kidding.
all the fans you have, you will have a job because they
I'm
definitely
kidding.
want to keep
I'm
watching
just
Deal.
kidding.
Now you.
Oh, they don't even know how I could. No, never mind. I'm not gonna say nothing.
Oh,
No, go
oh,
ahead.
no.
You open it up now. Go ahead.
No, they think Vicky Rao could say something. I could say some stuff, but I don't say anything, man. I'm a good brother.
See, we need to have you and Victoria on at the same time, and
Yep.
then we'll get some things brewing.
Yes.
Oh, we wouldn't even have to ask questions. We just have one. You just
Yeah, we have one topic and go.
I don't need to. I'd be like here.
Now, for the fans who watch the show, unfortunately, recently you lost Jeanne Cooper on the show, who's legendary Kathleen Chandler. Chancellor, excuse me,
Catherine
Chancellor.
Yep.
How has the show kind of dealt with losing such an icon since the beginning of the show, almost?
Yeah, man. Well, I'm glad we did the laughing first. Losing Jeannie is a lot like losing your own mom or grandma.
Yeah.
And Jeanne Cooper, talk about the word legendary, iconic, amassed an amazing resume during her stay on the planet. Jeannie was just such a beautiful individual inside and out. She could be very caustic and crazy and nasty with words at times, all in good fun, and then completely embrace you, love you, cry with you, advise you. She was everyone's mother. And I personally had many conversations with Jeannie about the struggle, about the black man's struggle, because she wanted to talk about that.
Yeah.
And you know, what's interesting is that Jeanne Cooper was one of us.
Yeah.
And fans let me know that. And I would go out on the road, and two people that they always talked about was Victor Newman and Catherine Chancellor.
Yeah.
You know, if I'd go to the South, I go to the Midwest, it don't matter. It doesn't matter. They will always talk about them. And they would say, oh, Mrs. C is one of us. Yes, she is. Beautiful soul. And we're sorry to have lost her. And the entire cast is completely broken about it.
Yeah.
But we also knew that Jeannie was very sick. And it wasn't like she was, 30, 40 years old.
Right.
She was 84 and had some very serious health issues. Did we want to lose her? Of course, you don't want to lose anybody, and especially right now, but we're just glad to have had her as long as we did.
Yeah.
And now there's a lot of loose ends that the writers are putting together for some kind of, I can't say because I kind of know, but something will air later during summer, about her character, Catherine Chancellor.
Okay.
And we're doing a special tribute show that we've taped it already. We filmed that. It'll be on this Tuesday, the 28th.
The 20th.
And it's a
okay.
tribute to Jeanne Cooper from the entire cast.
Yeah, and she seemed to be kind of like everyone's mother on the show almost. So we definitely will. I'm sure fans will definitely tune in to watching that as well.
Yeah.
I know that in the realm of family, I recently read too that you had reunited with your mother after 20 years, and I know that she recently passed. Sorry about the loss. How do you feel that your life has changed and impacted with reuniting after you reunited with her, and just the way you kind of deal with your life and your children? How has that impacted your world?
Well, my mom, I didn't get a chance to say goodbye, and I didn't really know her that well, so I don't know if that made it easier or not. I think it made it more difficult because, there was no closure there. And my mom she was 100% Polish. She was a white lady. Her parents are immigrants, and they never accepted, the color of my dad's skin or mine.
Yeah.
So it was devastating. It was totally devastating losing her. And at some point, I'm sure I'll deal with it more. But I have my kids that they carry on her light.
Yeah.
You know, they're her grandkids. She never got the chance to meet my 10-year-old Lola, but she will one day.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Hey, in fact, come here, kid. This is you are part Arlene, which is your grandma, right? We're
Yeah.
talking about someone that you never had a chance to meet. So, and then Julian and Paris, who are your sister and brother, they met Arlene when they were very small, and unfortunately, they didn't get to hang out with her after. What's your name?
Lola.
Yeah.
What's up, Lola?
Hi, Lola.
Yeah. How old are you?
10.
Yeah. Are you excited about being on a show right now?
Sure.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, I don't know so much anymore.
Yeah. What? You want to put this on your head? Yeah. Why don't you tell us what's? Oh, sorry, little girl. Uh-oh. Now we're getting that all caught
She
up.
could
that
have
beautiful
could
her.
have put it on better.
Here. Yeah. Right.
She probably
Here, you put it on. So, can you tell us? Have you ever watched Young and the Restless? You ever-
Sometimes.
yeah. Oh, really? Have you ever seen me on it?
Yes.
You have?
Yes.
And what do you think when you see Daddy on Young and the Restless?
That he's lucky.
Wow.
Lucky.
I love that.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. I used to say, or I still say it, but I'd rather be lucky than good,
Yeah.
right? And then a part of my ego goes, wait a minute, I really want to be good though, and stuff.
Yeah.
But so what is your vision of your life? What are you going to do when you get older?
Well, I don't know. I kind of want to be an actress, but
Wow. Yeah.
Is this first time hearing it? Did you know that she was interested in the business?
Yeah, not really. I mean, she's told me a little bit about it, but not. So you sure that's what you want to do?
I'm not sure, but
What's your backup plan,
I don't have one.
kid?
Well,
Yeah, well, you gotta get a backup plan. We'll help you out with
Yeah.
that. We'll
Plan
help you
B.
out with that.
Yeah, Plan B.
It's interesting because my next question to you was going to be, what do you see your legacy being, or what do you define as your legacy? And I don't even know if I need an answer because I see it. But I would love to hear from your words. What do you define as your legacy?
Well, what am I leaving behind? I'm leaving behind. I'm not sure. I mean, 3 children who hopefully have enough sense to find what it is that they're looking for.
Yeah.
And that's truly it. When you find what you're looking for, you grab it, you take it, and you love it.
Yeah.
That's what I wish for her.
Yeah.
What I can give her is the tools. I can guide her. Walk beside me and learn a little bit about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
If it's the business that you want to go in, if you want to be an actress or a model or, even behind the camera, writing, directing, that's my next phase of my career is that producing, writing, directing, and I've been
Yeah.
doing that along the way, just not how I'm about to.
Yeah.
And maybe you want to write one day. You're a very good speech writer. In your 4th grade class, I've heard some of your speeches, and your presentation is good, and you're not ugly. That's good. Right?
That helps in Hollywood,
That
right?
That helps. Do you think that you're pretty?
Kind of.
Yeah.
You have a good sense of fashion.
Exactly.
Yeah, you sure do. You're a beautiful young lady. I love you very much.
We'll have to write down her name and make sure, 20 years from now, we'll be looking for her.
Sign my paper.
Lola St. John.
Lola St. John.
Yep. Her brother Julian is actually a pretty talented artist, and he had his first gallery showing. He's 23 years old. He had his
like an
first gallery
artist.
showing.
Wow.
Julian St. John. You can catch him on Twitter. Julian St.
Julian
John
St.
on
John.
Twitter. Yeah, it's at Julian St. John. And some of his artwork is just it's a little reminiscent of Basquiat.
Yeah.
He likes to do writings on his pictures.
We'll definitely check that
Yeah.
out. Well, we're wrapping up, but we have a couple more questions
Sure.
for you. We want to leave on a positive note.
Yeah.
We call them our little fun questions. Okay, so it's I'll give you 5, and then Courtney and Jesse have a couple of questions for you as well. My question for you is, if you could interview anyone, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Who would I want to interview that's dead or alive? Well, I got to be honest. I mean, he's probably the most famous person in the world right now, and it's Barack Obama.
Yeah.
I would love to sit and talk to him and just feel him. Nothing weird about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, if it wasn't Barack, honestly, on the other topic, and not to get maudlin again, but it'd be my grandparents.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Because I'd love to pick their brain.
Yeah.
And see what kind of people they are, you know, and why they were so the way they were.
Yeah.
Honestly, you know, because I don't know what they look like, anything like that. So dead or alive, you got it.
Got that. Okay. Who was a better Malcolm Winters, Shamar Moore or Darius McRae?
Well, now, you know, this is almost like, you know what? I might as well be on 105.9, Big Boy in the Morning, and on a raft now. Okay, so let's do that. All right, Shamar and Darius are drowning in the middle of the ocean.
Who are you gonna say?
Who are you
Who am I gonna
Who you
say?
saving?
All right, thank you, big boy. Damn. Okay, I heard Luda say yesterday. He said he would do something with some medicinal stuff and then float away on the raft, float away so that they could both grab the raft.
They can both grab it.
But
I like that. I like that.
That I'm not gonna say. I'm gonna say you asked about who's a better. They were different interpretations, but I'm going to say this: Shamar created, originated the role, and ultimately was a better Malcolm.
Okay.
Because of he was Malcolm.
Yeah.
Darius had to fill some huge shoes.
Huge shoes. Very
and
true.
a totally different Malcolm. Darius is a totally different dude than Shamar. I mean, you know, Darius is down with his music.
Yeah.
An incredible, talented musician if you never had him on. So anyway, that's that. I know I'm going to hear it from both of them.
No, it's okay. You can blame me.
Darius, you just drowned. You just drowned, brother. Hold your breath. Hold your breath.
What would be your dream role besides Dad and Neil Winters? What would be your dream role?
I'm coming, Darius, I swear. As soon as I'm done with the show. What would be my dream job?
Yes.
Any-
Dream role.
Dream role?
Yes.
You know, this is strange for being a dude who wants to be on an island, but I could also be in law enforcement. I wanted to be a police officer, and I was just about to start taking, do the internship. It's not an internship. I can't even remember what it's called. But my dream job would be a CSI type of deal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, to do CSI kind of, or you know, what Shamar's doing. I want to play that. I want to have a gun on my side, and I want to run after the bad guy.
Maybe there's a double acting gig for you. Neil Winters by day, CSI agent by night.
There you go. Your lips to God's ears.
You know?
The other one would be like a doctor on like a Grey's Anatomy. That would be my other dream primetime job. A doc or a police officer, right? What would be your dream job if you were on TV?
I don't know.
Come on, don't say I don't know. Think of something. There's got to be something. Maybe a SpongeBob role. Maybe you could be Sandy under the sea on SpongeBob. The Sandy the squirrel.
No.
Okay.
All right, and last question for me. What's your most embarrassing moment you had on set, on any set?
Oh, God. Well, I just went to the most embarrassing moment of my life. You want to hear that, rather?
Yeah.
3rd grade, sitting next to Lisa Thomas and her best friend, Becky Kretzinger.
Wow.
And we used to call her Crap Stinker. And Joey Pichettino was her boyfriend, 3rd grade, and we were playing, we were throwing the ball back and forth. It was tables in a round. Ball got thrown to me, hit me in the stomach, and I farted the loudest fart I've ever farted. And the whole room cracked up, and all I was worried about was Lisa Thomas. And I looked over at her, and she was like, oh, you're... I cried on my way home that day.
That's the story.
Pretty, that's a winner.
I don't know if I can beat that one. All right, well, just due to time, we're just gonna maybe get to Jesse, your questions.
Since you're a vegetarian,
Yeah.
what vegetable do you hate the most?
I'm not a big fan of yams.
Yes.
Yeah, even though they're great protein, I'm just not a big fan of yams.
Not even in pie?
All right.
Nah, I don't like pumpkin either.
What was the last thing you regret buying?
My house, my last house. That was the last big purchase that I made that I really shouldn't have.
All right. And then if you could relive any day in your life, what day would it be?
Oh gosh, my wedding.
No.
Is that what you just said?
It
I
is.
think that's what I heard.
Wedding to your mama, right?
No.
To who?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. You see, you're trying to be politically correct too now. See, you're built
I
for
get
this
it.
business.
You
She
are.
is.
Love it.
She is.
I don't know if I answered your question. What was it? What was your question?
If you could relive any day,
Oh yeah.
what day would it be?
Well, oh gosh, now you got me messed up with that last one, man.
We have a
You know,
car
I-
ride to ride home to now.
Right.
I was there for all 3 children being born, but those 3 days were probably the most auspicious days I've had as a man in my life. And if I could relive the birth again, to see that, to witness it, it very special.
Wow.
Any 3 of them, but since I would like
Exactly.
to relive the day that you were
Lola's
born.
birthday.
Lola St. John.
Kristoff, where can your fans find you on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram?
I'm on Twitter, Kristoff St. John 1. I'm on Facebook. I got 2 different pages. I don't know why. One's a fan page. One's another fan page with a bunch of friends. And I'm on Instagram too as Kristoff St. John.
Courtney, where can your fans find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Stuart Starlet.
At
Jesse.
DJ Jesse J.
And you can find me at Dario Kristen on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you guys for tuning in to Black Hollywood Live Portraits with Kristoff St. John. You know him as Neil Winters on Young and the Restless. Be sure to tune in every day and watch him on CBS. And we'll see you next week.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, Dario Kristen, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for tuning in to the Black Hollywood Live Network. If you have questions or comments, tweet us at BHL Online or email us at info@blackhollywoodlive.com. For more exclusive content, visit blackhollywoodlive.com. This has been a presentation of the Black Hollywood Live Network. The views expressed here are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.